Overthinking is going to kill your dreams and drive you crazy. If you know that you struggle with the way that you think about your business and your life, you are in the right place, because I'm going to share with you some major mindset shifts that you must make in order to be successful in real estate. So over the past couple years, I have been extremely blessed, not just because of the success I've been able to gain in my own real estate business, but I have had the opportunity to be around a lot of different successful people. And I'm talking like not only big numbers, because big numbers, yes, that is one way to indicate success, but I'm talking about people that are really living in their purpose. They have time freedom, they have location freedom, like all of the different things that we dream about when we get into this business. Like, I'm seeing it firsthand. And what I have noticed is that the people who are really, really, really living the life, like talking the talk, walking the walk, they just tend to think differently. And one of the biggest blockers that you will have, one of the things that will keep you stuck, I don't care how much money you make, how much is available to you, is exactly what is happening in between your ears. So I'm going to share with you some mindset shifts that I have made and just what I have observed from the elite of the elite, the top 1% in every industry. And I guarantee you that when you start to make these shifts, not only in your business and your life, things are just going to start to click, and it will get so much better for you. So let's start with the number one thing. For the people that I see that are super successful, they go in with a mindset like anything is available to them. Like nothing is off limits. And this is a big one because, friend, many of us have so many limiting beliefs that it is crazy. And for a lot of us, these limiting beliefs, these things that we believe about who we are and what we're capable of and what we deserve and what work should look like, whatever you're bringing to the table, it is definitely going to be something that is going to push you forward or hold you back. And the elite of the elite, the top thinkers of the world, understand that anything is available to them. So let me just break this down for you. And I'm just going to share with you just something a belief that may be holding a lot of people back. And this is a belief that you have to work hard in order to get the success that you want. What I am finding is that more than like hard, gritty work, it's more consistency. But if you think that, you got to get it out the mud every single day, it will actually hold you back from doing things like creating leverage in your business, from creating systems to simplify your process. You may think that it has to be hustle, 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 and then you beat down in your head, and now you are imposing limits. Or what about those of you who think to yourself, like maybe I want to move or break into a different market. I want to do luxury, but maybe I didn't come from a luxurious background, and I just think that, these certain things aren't available to me. I must look different. I must have different attributes in order to really be taken seriously. It is all in your head. When you truly, truly believe that, what, I believe that, I can go after anything. And when you really look at a lot of big success stories, like the people that a lot of times hit the biggest level of success are those people who had the hardest hardships growing up. And at some point they had to believe that I can achieve this, right? But if you think the best that it ever can be is selling one house a month and, you're just going to settle because you don't think that you would ever be the type of person to see the type of money or to see the type of deal flow or to have the type of relationships that you dream of, then that ceiling will always be over you. So once you have that mindset shift to say, you know what? If I see it, like if you see it, if you know that it's possible, then that is evidence that it could be possible for you. But first you have to believe it. So that's the number one mindset shift that I need you to make. Here's the second mindset shift that I see the elite of the elite have. Failure is just feedback. When we understand that there are always going to be parts of our lives that it's just not going to work out, right? Everything is just not going to be peaches and cream. There are going to be things that you fail at. It's how we respond to the failure that really is the dividing point between whether you are cut out to do more or whether you are going to stay stagnant forever. And here's a spoiler alert. you are cut out to do more. Okay. I'm not even going to give you the pass because we're besties to think that, okay, I'm just going to be basic forever. And when I say that, it's because a lot of times we let, when things get hard, when we don't succeed on the very first time, we let that stop us in our tracks. But the most elite people, they say, okay, I failed at that. Now it's time for me to go back to the drawing board and figure out how I could do something different so that you don't make that mistake again. And I'll give you just some examples, like some practical tips from my own real estate business. I remember very early on, someone asking me, oh, how's the market, right? I was like at a social event, just chit-chatting to people. And, you know, they knew that I was a real estate agent and they asked me, how's the market? Baby, I bombed that answer. Like I was stuttering, you know, I was contradicting myself. Like, oh, if you want to buy, it's great. And if you want to sell, it's great. He's like, well, how is that? Like, explain to me how it's the best scenario for both people. Like this person challenged me and I literally failed that opportunity to engage them in a meaningful conversation. And you know what? It would have been very natural for me with the way that I thought about myself and the way that I thought about life for me to use that and say, you know what? This is evidence. I shouldn't be in real estate. I don't even know how to answer a simple question like, how's the market? But instead, right, that's an opportunity to say, you know what, this is feedback. So if this is a question that I got once, there are chances that I'm going to get that question again. And now, how am I going to answer that question? Okay. And literally yesterday I was at an event in my neighborhood and there, you know, I know that when I'm at a neighborhood event, they don't want to just know how's the market. They want to know how is the market specifically in our neighborhood. And I was able to actually secure an appointment with somebody because I was able to give such in-depth feedback about what's happening in the neighborhood. And I even went a little bit deeper to talk about how homes built by certain builders produce a different amount on market, gave a little bit of market knowledge about, you know, the area of where like lot sizes and things like that. And I demonstrated professional knowledge. But you know where that came from? Because I failed in the past, right? Because I failed in the past and I had that feedback, now when I go into these situations, I just do a quick little review of what's happening. Now, I don't expect you to know what's happening all over the market, right? I have like generic answers, but because I was generic but meaningful answers, I want to back that up. But because I knew that I was going to a neighborhood specific event, I knew, you know, how I needed to answer questions if something came up about our neighborhood. So how does the elite think? They think that failure is feedback. We don't get, you know, down and out because something doesn't go the way we think it's going to go. You're going to use that for feedback so that you can show up better the next time. Okay, so here's the next one. I'm not going in any particular order. This is just literally what came to mind when I really sat and thought about, you know, not just myself, success mindsets, but people that I know. You need people to be successful. And this one, I have said it before, I'm going to say it again. You need people in different avenues in your business. And when you are trying to do it all alone, even if you are very, you know, some people think that you're capable and you have a high capacity to do things. And I'm not doubting that. But when you're trying to do all the things, right, when you're the only voice of reason in your life, what happens is that you become limited, right? We go back to that first one, like you're going to put a ceiling onto yourself and your own capabilities because we were made for a community. It just drives me crazy how Jesus rode with 12, right? And he was fully God, but we think that we don't need anybody. So whether you are the manager of a company, whether you have a team, if you are a solo agent, I'm going to encourage you to see where do you need community pouring into your life. It may be by hiring somebody like a transaction coordinator, by like a VA, like an admin. Is it time for you to expand and pray about having a team? Do you need a coach? Do you need to be a part of a mastermind group? Where do you need to make investments, right? Because this is something else too. I didn't even put this one on there, but I noticed that the elite of the elite, they are not afraid to invest in themselves, where the people who stay stuck in the way their mindsets are, You never ever think you're supposed to spend $1 on getting better. We want to invest in everything else, Louis Vuitton, Gucci them, but not invest in ourselves. The elite of the elite understand that you need people, and sometimes it's an investment of time, it's an investment of money. But when you have the right people around you where it's reciprocal, right? You pour into them, they pour into you, like you are going to go so much further. And I want to talk about this really quickly, and just also from another standpoint, is that I also noticed that the people who think differently are also serving others. Like they're not just looking to say, how can you help me in my business, but how like you get joy out of helping others. Now, don't get me wrong. I need to create income and things for my family, for my real estate business. But what brings me the most joy is being able to see my team members win, to know that the way that I'm coaching them and supporting them is helping them, not only go out and serve our clients, but it's helping make a difference in their family life. Like when we have a group called Voxer. That's an app that I use for the besties that we coach with in accelerated coaching. Like when they're in that app and they're talking about, I did this thing that we've been talking about in coaching, and I got this, this $1 million lead, or, I was able to pack out my client appreciation event, and, the connections that were made, like that brings me so much joy, because it just shows what happens when you put yourself in the right community. So I know that the elite of the elite understand that people need people, and they're not trying to do it all alone. Okay, this one is crazy. This is number 4. The mindset is that this false vanity is not really where it's at. And let me just go a little bit deeper. In real estate, we have a lot of kind of noise when it comes to like these awards and these mentions and these affirmations from outside sources. And what I notice about people who just think on a different level and they're truly successful is that they don't just do what they're doing for the applause of others, because a lot of these awards don't mean crap, and they're vanity awards anyway. Most brokerages, like, let me just cue you in on something, okay? The average real estate agent, now I know there are agents that are closing, many, many deals per year. However, on average, the national average is 4 to 6 deals a year. So most brokerages, okay, when you see someone posting top producer, it's not hard to be a top producer. In most cases, like if you are getting a regular commission, maybe 1 deal per month, then in a lot of cases, 1 to 2 deals per month is all you need to do to be a top producer. But then if you really dig into that, like that might be $50,000 or $60,000 a year. And I'm not minimizing it. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times, if you're not careful, your mindset will tell you that these like false vanity awards that come with our industry are what the goal is. And I ain't gonna lie, that was my goal for a while until I figured it out. Like, oh, these are like low-key popularity contests. Like, let me give, like, y'all want some of my truth? Okay, I'm gonna give you some of my truth. There is a publication that is known in my city, and they do a best award once per year, right? And it's kind of it used to be a big deal to me to be on this award list. And I got it for best 1 year, but all the other years I got it for just being a top producer. And in this case, you really had to like sell at least 10 million to be on the top producer list. But I remember like being very upset that I didn't get the best award, when I thought to myself, like, girl, it's all vanity, because like, this is what I know about myself. The year that I was voted best realtor, I'm such a better realtor now, right? I was barely figuring it out then. But in my mind and in my ego, that award that somebody made up, literally, like somebody made up, actually did something for me, and it was fake, right? And if I'm only looking for these false claps, and not even to say that people are clapping for you and not being genuine about it, but if I'm looking for these things to say that I am good at what I do, then I'm just always going to be chasing the applause of others. So I find that the elite of the elite, like they don't get caught up in like stuff like that, but it's really in how they're showing up for their businesses and then in their life and seeking purpose is where they find fulfillment. And that is a mindset shift that I think is huge, especially in our industry when, you know, there's a lot of clapping for a whole lot of stuff that we don't even know what's up. Okay, let's talk about another mindset shift. The more risk you take, the more results you are going to get. Now, this one is the one because wherever you are in your business, you will be faced with what taking a risk is for you. For a lot of you, okay, for the person that's watching here, the risk might just be opening my mouth and initiating a conversation, right? Picking up the phone and calling someone in my sphere, you know, making a connection with a neighbor or a past client, you know, calling that expired. That feels risky because you're fearing that rejection piece. But the more risk you take in business, the bigger the results. Like if you play safe, nothing exciting happens in your comfort zone. And I'm going to give you like just two examples, one biblical, one not, that I think about with the more risk, the more reward. Now, I was watching, I can't remember the young lady's name, but she is the person who founded Uncle Nearest. It is a liquor. And she actually is like a billionaire with a B. I'm like, I feel like I'm yelling, but billionaire with a B. I want you to know. And she's a black woman too. So holla at your girl. Like, hey girl. Her name is Faye or Faith. I'll look and figure it out. I'll put a link. But anywho, I saw her do an interview and she talked about the fact that, you know, she's willing to take risks. And she's like, in building this cognac company, whatever she has, she's like, I've been broke like 25 times. And yes, everyone wants to say now, you know, like I've built it up to be $1 billion company. But if I wasn't willing to take those risks, if I wasn't willing to see my bank account go down, if I wasn't really willing to bet and invest in things, you know, in the digital real estate, in the physical real estate to, you know, to produce my product, then you wouldn't see these massive results. And that is what I find is that for those people who continually play it safe, and I see it in my own life, I'm telling you, I played it safe for such a long time. And the reason that I'm on YouTube is because I was willing to risk, you know what I'm saying, like being ridiculed on video when I didn't know what I was saying, when I, you know, had a janky camera, when, you know, like go back and listen to some of my old YouTube videos. They were horrible, but willing to take the risk. And when you are willing to get outside of yourself, and I'm not saying do it stupid, but we got to be willing to do it scared. And oftentimes I see those who get stuck in their minds. You're waiting for the perfect time to call, the perfect time to do the video, the perfect time to engage the clients. And you got to take the risk. And you got to be, you know, go back to what we said in the beginning, like failure. If you do fail after you take the risk, the failure is going to be feedback. But if you're not willing to take the risk, then you can't make points for the shots you didn't take. And the biblical example that I would get is, you know, in Matthew chapter 14, the last part of the chapter, like Peter walked on water. Like he legit walked on water. You know why? Because he took the risk. Now, homie took his eyes off Jesus and then he fell. But even when he fell, what happened? Jesus was there to grab him, right? And he had the experience of walking on water. So I see the elite of the elite, the top 1%, they are willing to take risks. And I'm telling you, everything that you're into, whether you drive a Tesla or a BMW, you're watching on your iPhone, you ordering from Amazon, every single day, we are the recipients of the results of somebody who was willing to take a risk. And the question is, what risks have you been too scared to take? And it may not be, you know, buy real estate to build a big brokerage, but maybe it's literally like, okay, today when I'm in line at TJ Maxx, I'm going to take a risk and strike up a conversation with the person in front of me. Because you know those lines be long. They already live in your neighborhood because you're in your neighborhood TJ Maxx, so you might as well strike up a conversation, ask them where they live, and see if it ends up being somebody that you can connect with and put in your pipeline. So they take risks. Now let's talk about the next one. People who are successful in business, and I want to talk even more specifically to real estate businesses, they understand that they are the brand. Now put in comments if you want me to do an entire episode or training. We got to do something deep about building a brand. Let's talk about it. But when you understand that you are the sauce, sister, okay? I know you with Keller Williams. I know you joined this team. I know, you with Real Realty. I'm going to call my brokerage out too. You're a real estate bestie. But when we understand that we have been uniquely made and uniquely gifted to serve, and you are the brand, and that switches, like, I don't need to add anything superficial to who I am. When I show up authentically and love on people correctly, that is the game changer. And again, you get to live in, I don't even want to say your truth. You get to live in purpose, right? And that, like, y'all know I love the Lord. So I think that for me, understanding that the power that I would have just showing up as me, 1,000,000% came from my quiet time with the Lord. Like, I cannot tell you how nervous I was coming into this business and just not feeling like I was good enough, not smart enough, not fancy enough. I'm looking at all these realtors walking slow in Louboutins. I know I joke about it, but seriously, I was like, that's not me. Like, am I going to be good enough? But the thing is that when you show up as you, as your authentic self, you get to build that know, like, and trust factor. And you understand that you are the brand, right? That happens to sell real estate. That is going to be a game changer. And that is a mindset shift that I see you must make. And I don't care, like, for me, I don't care where I plant my flag, what brokerage I'm at. People know Rosemary, people know Real Estate Bestie, because at some point I figured out that, it's me who can show up as my authentic self. And then when you do that, what you do is you attract your people, right? I hope I'm attracting you. I hope you're still watching, right? So we besties, right? If I didn't believe, or if I didn't allow myself to believe that I had something valuable to share, then we wouldn't be having this interaction right now. And that's the same thing. You got to take that risk, right? Going back, so you see how they all weave in together? When you begin to take these different intentional risks, and you get to show up exactly as you are and understanding the value that you have, it all just starts to work together. Okay, so these are all the things you got to start thinking about. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is you can succeed in any market. Now, this one is another huge one that I wish that I learned long ago, because there is a lot of noise, especially in the real estate space, right? And let me also back up and say it's not unwarranted, okay? I'm not about to sit up here and act like the market does not throw curveballs where we have to adjust, but the reality is that I don't care what the market is, I don't care what the numbers say, you will always have people who need to buy and sell. Life changes, right? People, relocate, they get married, they get divorced, they have children leave the house, they can no longer afford the house, they hit a lick and they ready for their dream home. There are always going to be things that happen, and with that, a basic need of having somewhere to live is going to be something that people need. When you understand that, okay, then you understand, and even like for real, like if you really go look in, this is something I want you to do. I want you to go look in your MLS, okay? And I just want you to go see, like, in your direct market, maybe your county, okay, if you know how to do that. I want you to go look in your county. I want you to unclick all of the active, all that stuff. And I just want you to go to close transactions. And I want you to click and see how many transactions have closed in the last 365 days, okay? For most of you, okay, for most people watching this, getting to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 closings, that's beyond top producer level, for real. Like when you really get to it, a solo person getting to 5 closings, you have a very robust business. But for most people, right, most people who have a W-2 job, when you get to the point where you closing 1 to 2 deals a month with the average price point of homes in America, that means that you're seeing 5-figure months. For most of you, that would be life-changing money. And guess what? When you look at how many deals have closed in your market, no matter what the market has looked like in the last 24 or the last 12 months, it's like, but could I have gotten 24 of those deals? Could I have gotten 12 of those deals? They probably would have made a big difference. And then just add it up, like 30 of those deals. When you look at that number, and that's only in your county, some of you can go to the next county to work or the next county to work, then it starts to make it very attainable. But first you have to believe I can succeed in any market. If you are coming to the beginning, like we are at the cusp of a new year as I'm recording this video, if you are coming to the year and all you're doing and hearing and thinking about is this negative noise and thinking that, oh my God, the sky is falling, I'm not gonna be able to do anything, then you're not gonna be able to do anything. But when you think to yourself like, look, and you know your numbers, I need to go get 30. I need to go get 20. I need to go get 10. And the numbers that I'm looking at, the data that I'm looking at shows that this is attainable. Now, if you live in a rural area, spread it out. Okay, don't play me and act like, well, I live in. Spread it out. Okay, I'm getting hyped. But what I am saying is that the elite of the elite believe that they can survive in any market. And then I also want to say this. I think that no matter what the business is, the good businesses, strong businesses are built in tougher times and in tougher markets. So when you believe and really put forth effort to build in a tough market, when market conditions naturally get easier, guess what? Your business is going to be a little bit easier too. So that's something that people believe. Okay, number 8. This kind of goes along with one of the other ones, but here's another mindset shift. Your circle matters. If you want to see what you all about or what you're not all about, look at the top 5 people that you spend your time with. And this is one of the reasons I always preach this. I'm going to preach it again, is that, there will never be a time where I am not paying money to be at masterminds, to go to conferences, to be coached, to be in going to marriage conferences, parenting, like all the things. You know why? Because the people that you meet at that stuff and the friendships that you form is going to be way different than the folks you meet at the free title company giving away pizza, right? And no shade, I love you besties, but there are some people that I kind of notice always do anything I do free, they're at. But the minute they got to pay $1, I don't see them. And part of that, I believe, is, you have to believe that you are worth making investments in you. But another part of that is sometimes we get comfortable with this crab in a barrel mentality and think everything should be given to us. But when you put yourself in certain circles, you have to invest to get into them. That just is what it is. It is going to be a game changer. And the top 1% of thinkers, of doers, of succeeders understand how valuable that circle is. And I'm not saying that you have to throw your old friends away, but what I am saying is that as you grow and develop in business, in your personal life, in your spiritual life, then it should make you uncomfortable to be in certain spots. And I want you to look around. If everybody around you got money problems, if everybody around you got relationship problems, if nobody around you can get these deals clicking, if everybody, trying to figure out a side hustle only because the first hustle ain't never working, then that is an indication that, okay, maybe I need to put myself in different circles, and you got to figure out how to do that. And I literally just came back from a mastermind. And from that mastermind, I met a young lady, and I had an idea of how she and I could work together. But then when I sat and talked to her, she gave me another idea that just her little idea opened me up to a bigger way of how, honestly, I could serve the Real Estate Bestie community better. And you know what that came from? Being in that mastermind and in that place. But if I wasn't willing to invest, I wouldn't have been exposed to the thinking. And really, that's what it is, right? When you are very intentional about your circle, to me, that's the beauty of coaching and a lot of these other things, is being exposed to the way people think about something. And I'm even going to give you a different one. Like, I literally just recently was walking through just something hard in parenting. And ironically, my business coach introduced me to somebody who was walking through something very similar. And just in one conversation with this woman, and she was a little bit further along the path of parenting than I was, and just being exposed to her thinking is totally changing how I approach the situation. So I'm telling you, do not take these friendships, these relationships lightly. If you need a community, you need to be a part of the Real Estate Bestie community. We are in 2025 having a bigger event where we're going to welcome about 100, a little bit more of 100 of y'all to Dallas. Get here, because number one, I want to see you. I want to love you. I want to touch you. I want to hug you. But however, I want you to be a part of the environment where you're going to meet other besties who are serious about their business, serious about their relationship with the Lord, serious about community, and the circle that you are a part of matters. So make sure you're on our email list. You'll find out, you'll be the first. We're going to email people first. Anytime I do anything with Real Estate Bestie, whether it's a masterclass, whether it's coaching, whether it's an event, we always let our email list know first. So head on over to rosemarylewis.com/list to make sure that you are on the list, because your circle matters, okay? That's what the top 1% know, and that is something that you have to start operating with. Here's something else, number 9, is that you are here to serve at the highest level. I think that the most successful people that I know, and even like I'm gonna even go off of people that I don't know, but people that I observe, like the Ed Miletts and the Amy Porterfields and the, all of these people that are making like crazy money, but making crazy impact. There is something that switches about it being about service. And that's when it changed for me in real estate, because like you, I was one of those people where I didn't want to come off salesy. I didn't want, you would be hesitant to post because you don't want to seem like you only talking about real estate or only talking about things. But when I really allowed myself to like think through and understand that my position as a real estate agent is to, it truly helps people. And I'm just giving you some examples. Like, we have helped people, first of all, someone coming to a brand new city who knows nobody, who has no direction, help them, secure and figure it out. We've helped people who, thought that they needed an 800 credit score and hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank to get into homes with little of nothing. And now, I'm seeing them with Christmas lights at their house, right? That they never thought they would get. I've been able to help families. I helped a young lady, I'm thinking of her right now, that she is the first in her family. Her parents don't even own a home. And she was the very first person to ever purchase a home. And then because she purchased a home and I was able to help her figure out how to do that, now her cousins in different states, they have purchased homes because she was the first. So when you shift from what can I get, how can my life be better? How can I make more money? To how can I serve, right? Lord, where have you put me here to be of service to others? And you just figure out their problems and how you can present a solution to the problem. That's where the sauce happens, right? That's where you make the most money, because you are now a problem solver. I just got a call from someone who, unfortunately, their family, it looks like they're gonna go through a transition, right? And I didn't try to sell her on a listing appointment. I didn't try to sell her on why they need to do this and that. I was like, look, at this point in your life, what you need is somebody who's going to really help lay out exactly, the numbers on the part of the house, so that you all can make the best decision for your family. And this is what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna help you figure this out. I'm gonna share the information as it relates to market, provide you with any resources that you need, and then you make a decision, right? And she was so appreciative, because she was like, it's such a delicate time in my life where it was important to me to reach out to somebody who I know actually cares about people, going back to you being the brand. And for me, like if all I could think about during that conversation was like, okay, cool, this is gonna be another listing. Like, let me hurry up and get her to sign these papers so she can buy this house and I can have money in Jane. No. But when you shift to, okay, how can I, in my position, in my profession, it really be about service? That is a game changer. And there is a quote that I want to say Zig Ziglar said, but I might be messing it up. Google it. I'm going to tell you the quote. It's pretty much like, you can get whatever you want in life, but helping other people get what they want in life. So coming from a place of service is definitely a mindset shift. Like, we know people who are takers. We know people who are trying to just get their bottom line filled from us, and it doesn't feel good. And the same thing, right? Stop saying, who do you know that wants to buy or sell real estate? No, say, who do you know who has jacked up credit and need a resource to help them get their credit on check, right? Like, figure out the problems of your ideal customer and figure out then, like, after you know the problem, come up with ways to solve that problem and be the solution and serve them. And that is what the elite does. And then here's the last one. Okay. The last one is small, consistent habits produce crazy, big, massive results. And this one is a big one because enough people don't know this. I think that most think in order to live the life I want to live, I have to have this big, massive, crazy change, right? Overnight. And that's not it, right? It's those small incremental things that you do over a consistent period of time that is going to give you the biggest results. And I always give the besties in accelerator coaching like this thing when they're trying to figure out their calendars, right? Yeah, I know you want to, like, in theory, some guru has told you that you need to call and cold call for 5 hours a day. But let's be real. Like, be real with yourself, sis. You ain't calling none. So to think you will go from 0 to 5 hours, you're playing yourself and then you're setting yourself up for failure. But you can get so much traction. Like, what can you commit to consistently? And that is where you're going to see the difference. I always give the example of, think about, and it's funny, I'm looking at my office right now, this guy's running. So it's like the Holy Spirit was like, there's your example. Let's think about, like, if I go out and I decide on Sunday I'm going to run 3 miles, but that 3 miles whoop me, like, because I'm not a runner. I don't run. I don't do that. But I'm going to run 3 miles. What's going to happen is probably not going to run 3 miles again for some months. But if every day I decide I'm going to walk for a mile, right? And then as I get comfortable walking for a mile, maybe I'm going to run for a minute and then run for 2 minutes. And then before I know it, my walks were 20 minutes and now they're 12 minutes because I'm adding some pace to it. And I'm doing that consistently. Where am I going to see the changes in my body? That one time I went out or that consistent effort? The consistent effort is going to be the game changer. And that's what the elite of the elite know. When you really start talking to people where the money reside, right? Where they are living their best life, where they are telling their time where to go, where, they are making an impact. Like, it's the disciplines, the daily habitual disciplines, keeping promises to themselves that make all of the difference. I don't know if you all know who Ryan Panetta is, but like, he's a pretty big deal. He's young, like, and that's what I love. You also got to be willing to learn from people younger than you. Ryan is younger than me. He's probably 10 years younger than me. But my husband and I went to a mastermind, paid to go there. And Ryan has like a huge investment company. He has his coaching company alone for real estate made something insane, like $20 million in 2024. And we were in a room of about 100 people, and someone asked Ryan, if you had to point to one thing that you do for your personal development that has made the biggest impact, what would that thing be? Ryan said that for the last 8 years, his consistent habit of spending 1 hour with the Lord, memorizing scripture, praying, like, he's like, in that hour, what happens after that is like an abundance of ideas. He gets downloads from the Lord. He gets the courage to take the risks that he normally wouldn't have taken on his own. And he's like, that consistent action is very much responsible for the massive growth that you've been able to see. And like literally 10 years ago, he was not in real estate. And now he is one of the most well-known names in real estate, especially in the investing sector. And he attributes it largely in part to that consistent habit of meeting with God every day, which I'm always going to encourage you to do. So in short, you got some work to do when it comes to just shifting your mindset and being a part of the 1%. Let me go back over them for you. So number 1, nothing is off limits. Failure, friend, is just feedback. Number 3, you need people to be successful. Number 4, those awards, like, don't get caught up in that, all that vanity stuff. It doesn't matter. It's like what's really at the heart of you. Number 5, the more risk you take, the more results you are going to get. Number 6, you. Yes, you who I'm talking to right now, bestie, you are the brand exactly as you are. Number 7, don't believe the hype. You can succeed in any market. Number 8, your circle matters. So choose it carefully. Invest in where you want to be so that you can actually thrive where you are. Number 9, you are here to serve at the highest level, okay? At the end of the day, it is about serving. And then finally, number 10, those small, consistent habits produce the most massive results. I hope that this was helpful for you. Do me a favor and share this episode. And like I said, to stay connected with us on our list, rosemarylewis.com/list. And I'm planning a masterclass. Like, I know that there are so many agents that like you are dreaming of getting to that $100,000 mark, like that's your first marker, but you're struggling with consistency. You're struggling with lead generation, right? You're struggling with converting these leads. I am creating a masterclass to help catapult you in 2025. So head on over to rosemarylewis.com/2025 the numbers, and get registered for that. I love you so, so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, if you're watching this when it comes out, we're entering into the new year. So have a wonderful new year, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.